This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Dream Power Show on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is the show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love. And as a reminder, I'm here to help you understand your dreams. So if you have a dream that's got you stumped, send it to me at debbie@dreampowerradio.com. I'll help you interpret your dream or answer any questions you may have about dreams. So again, email me at debbie@dreampowerradio.com. Dreams can be defined as a series of thoughts, images, sensations that occur during a person's mind during sleep. It can also be defined as a daydream or a fantasy about something that you desire. Dreams can be inspirational and take us in directions we never thought possible. Today's show is being devoted to the creative spark that can come as a result of a dream. Something like this happened to my guest today, Cate Montana. Cate is a thinker and writer who had an inspiration, which led her to the creation of her new novel, Apollo and Me. I'm so excited to have Cate on the show today and discuss everything about this wonderful novel. So welcome to the Dream Power Show, Cate.
Thank you, Debbie. I'm so excited to be on the show.
Oh, I'm excited to have you here. And Cate, I have to tell you, I've been doing this show for a little over 7 months now, and you're the first guest I've asked on for the second time. And I had to have you back because I want the world to know about this book you wrote. I tell you,
Thank you.
believe me, look, a book is good when it works on multiple levels. And that is so true for Apollo and Me. I mean, on one level, it's a kick-ass romance novel, and it's a great summer read. But it's so much more than that. It's a story of rebirth. It's a story of the gods, the battles of the gods, an ode to the sacred feminine, and half a dozen other wonderful things about this book. But it all began with a vision. So tell us, what was this vision you had?
Oh boy. So I've been a very left-brain person and done a lot of work I've been a journalist for 35 years, and I've been writing nonfiction titles for years. So I was in Greece writing a book for Simon & Schuster called The E Word, which was about ego, enlightenment, and ego psychology and evolution, some pretty heavy stuff. I took a break. I went to the Temple of Apollo at Delphi in Greece. I was staying in Greece at a friend's house for 3 months writing the book. And so I had to take a break. I'd go to Delphi. I've always had a thing about Apollo and the Greek gods, Debbie. It was the very first, Delphi in Greece was the very first place I ever went when I left the United States when I was 19 to travel. That was the place I wanted to go see. Prescient. Okay, so 40 years later, I'm back at Delphi, the tourists and all that. It's still beautiful, still amazing and magical, but I wanted to get away from people. So the next day I took a hike early in the morning up Mount Parnassus, and I'm sitting in the sunshine. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of a mountain. I'm overlooking the Temple of Apollo, and maybe I'd had a little bit too much Greek coffee to drink that morning. But so I'm sitting there and minding my own business, and I had a vision. In my mind's eye, I just saw this beautiful man just bound over the rocks towards me, sat down right next to me. He had copper-colored eyes, and he just turned to me and he said, "Hi, I'm Apollo. I have things to tell humanity. Let's talk." And then that was it.
So
I'd never had anything to be like that before.
So how much of that was,
It was like I didn't know whether I had.
how much of that was in the vision? Was the whole conversation with Apollo in that vision you had?
No, the vision itself was, "Hi, I'm Apollo. I have things to tell humanity. Let's talk." And then poof, he was gone. So it just it knocked me for a total loop. I was so shocked. And I literally walked back down the mountain and pulled out my computer, because when I write, I think I really kind of channel, because I just go into a theta or an alpha state and information just flows. And I always know that it's not like just me when I think I'm going this way, and then all of a sudden the book or whatever I'm writing takes me this way. I'm like, oh, that's not me. That's something coming through me. So I went back to my room in my hotel in Delphi, and I pulled out my computer and I just tuned into those eyes and the energy of this vision, and the story just started to unfold. I mean, it was just instantaneous. It was just, I hesitate to say it was like a download, but it was kind of like a download. And then I had to go back to my left brain functioning and write the other book, Ego Psychology and Enlightenment, that I was working on. But I kid you not, 3 days after I got through writing the E-word and sent my manuscript into my publisher, I was back at the computer communing with Apollo and those eyes and that energy, and just going, all right, what else have you got to say? And 3 months, within 3 months, I mean, I did this. I was just a crazy person. I was so obsessed, Debbie, with this vision and with Apollo and his energy, and the things that started to flow out and through me were just like, wow. And it was a love story, which totally blew my mind. It was like, but so much of what Apollo has to say is about, let's do this marriage of heaven and earth, and mind, body, and spirit, the emotions and love and the mind. Let's get it all together, girl.
When you first had that vision, were you envisioning a love story coming out of it, or did that just hit you?
Debbie, I had no idea what was going to come out. I had no idea. I didn't know if, number one, what had happened had really happened. I didn't know if it was a fantasy or a delusion or a true vision. And when I sat down to write, I had zero idea about anything. And this story just started, and the conversation that I might have had with him started flowing, and then the story just kept flowing, and then more information from Apollo kept showing up, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm along for the ride.
And what a ride it is. You said before that you had always had an attraction to Apollo. Why is that?
In retrospect, it's really clear. I during the course of writing this book, and in the course of the last several years, it took 4 years to bring this book to the world. I've realized that I definitely had a past life as a priestess in around 330 BC at the Temple of Apollo in Greece, and that this energy that I was engaging was not. It was very familiar, deeply familiar to me, and so, to this day, Debbie, I've never seen Apollo again. I've not felt a presence looming over me or anything like that, but there's just been this kind of a very wise, very solid, but very funny, not funny, humorous, lighthearted energetic, playful, energetic, that enliven time I tune into Apollo's energy. And it's just really brought me into my feminine nature like nothing else. It's brought me into my writing this book, engaging Apollo, archetype, fantasy, delusion, has so broadened me as a woman. It's taken me out of my very left brain scientific
Sure.
relentlessly opening me up into love and more into sensuality, because essentially his message was, we have to marry heaven and earth. We have to get the masculine and the feminine forces together in their complementary expression, that we can't marginalize the wildness, the chaos, the fertility, the expansiveness, the unlimitedness, the unruliness of the feminine, which we've tried to do, which the masculine has desperately tried to lock the feminine in Pandora's box for thousands of years, because the essence of the masculine is structure and rules. So, the wild feminine terrifies the hell out of the masculine. So Apollo's whole thing was about, hey, wake up. This is time for all of what's inside a woman to be expressed freely, openly, unashamedly, and recognized as equal to the expression of the masculine. Just
Right.
different.
Those
Equal
men
does
just,
not mean same.
right. Those men just
Yeah.
have to wake up and get used to it. There's nothing else to it. That's it. But one of the refreshing
Absolutely.
one of the refreshing angles of this book is that your heroine's not the typical ravishing beauty that you see so often in romance novels. She's a mature, seasoned woman in her 60s. So what made you decide to go there?
I confess this book is highly autobiographical, because in the writing of it, Debbie, I could not separate myself from the story. And so much of my issues as a woman, as a spiritual woman, who, as I say, was struggling with my sexuality of all things. And it's so much of my spirituality is about getting out there to God. Let me have my eyes closed, let me meditate, and then I will be one with God. But it's like, I'm one with God in this body. I'm divine in this body. And I discovered through the writing of this book how deeply I was simply paying lip service to, oh yes, everything is spirit. Yes, my body is spirit. My sexuality is God too. Get me out of here. I was totally paying lip service to that, that divine union. Apollo just slammed me right into the carpet on that one. And it's just like, you've got to get in your body. So writing the story and my protagonist, Catherine, and putting her as 60 something and with all of these issues, it just seemed to be it seemed to be the right thing to do, because that's just what flowed out. And because it's my issues as a woman, then I think that lent greater authenticity to the discussion about the wounding of the feminine, and where we as women, what we still yet have to evoke and express in our voice today. So I think it lent greater authenticity than me trying to concoct a heroine and etc.
Well, it also, I think, speaks to the fact that there are many women of our age who are are sexual, are divine, are to be celebrated, and why not? And why not have a god like Apollo, love a woman like that?
In your life
Makes perfect
and in
sense.
your bed.
And makes perfect sense to me. And with that, we're going to take a short break. We're speaking with author Cate Montana on the Dream Power Show, and we'll be right back.
When is a car not a car?
When it shows up in your dreams. Cars are one of the most common dream symbols. If you don't know why you're dreaming about cars or any image, it can leave you confused or scared. But that dream could be a solution to a pressing problem, or an insight into a solution that's been bugging you for years. Go to my website and sign up for a complimentary discovery session, and I'll help you understand why a dream is a terrible thing to waste.
Go to thedreamcoach.net for more information.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to the Dream Power Show. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're speaking with Cate Montana about her sensational new book, Apollo and Me. Cate, early on in the story, Apollo gives Catherine a choice about having eternal youth, and she has a choice to make there. Why did she make the choice she did?
Wow. Yeah, that was a shocker. I mean, because that's basically how the book started out. That was the storyline. And Apollo, this entity, this whatever, actually tapped really deep inside one of my biggest issues, which was with my aging. I hate getting older, or I hated getting older. And I had real issues with it about my body beginning to sag and drag and et cetera, et cetera. And wow, he just nailed me from the outgo about my deepest wound and issue at the moment. And so the fact that, because, I can't separate my own healing out of this book. Apollo was very, very clear. He was the god of healing, amongst other things, the god of music, the god of wisdom and light. But he's a healer. And he made no bones about it through the story that he was here to heal me and to heal humanity, especially women, by opening up this can of worms in all of us, in the feminine, that's keeping us tamped down from being our full expression. And so I had to deal with my aging issues. And so, yeah, Apollo, I don't think this is going to give anything away. Apollo approaches Catherine, the protagonist, and he offers her eternal youth if she will worship him. So she makes the decisions she makes, and on the book goes. And it's a deeply spiritual dive, as you said. There, yes, on the surface, it's a romance. And it's also a romance about an older woman and a younger man, or ostensibly a younger man. Again, my deep-seated issue. I have enormous cougar tendencies. I just find younger men beautiful still. And, and I look at men my age, I'm 67, and I look at men my age and I go, oh my God, what am I going to do with that? But then of course the mirror back to me is like, well, this is your mirror, baby. Have you looked in the mirror lately? And then all this spiral. And so so the story addresses that. And the beauty of Apollo is that he shines a light on what a real man is full in his masculine, who's so confident in himself and his own body and his own wisdom and his own vision of the world and understanding of the world and understanding of and appreciation for the divine feminine. So Apollo, being the strong, virile, compassionate, intensely wise, all-encompassing, energetic of the masculine, enabled me to just unshackle my feminine and just let it roar and go, yeah, this is my issues, I'm getting rid of that. And this is my issue, and I'm getting rid of that. And I'm embarrassed about orgasm or this or that, get rid of that. And just embody my spirit and bring the two together. And just have this dance with this beautiful younger man who's actually millions of years old. Apollo was always saying, he said, age is relative.
Right.
I'm a lot older than you are. You know, don't go on appearances. And the beauty of being seen by a man, the beauty for a woman, the healing for a woman of being seen for who she really is, beneath the surface, beneath the skin, beneath the wrinkles. And he was like, I love you for who and what you are, the richness of your soul.
Yeah, I know. One of the beautiful things about this book is the ode to the, divine feminine that you wrote. And, to have that appreciation that, we are all perfect and beautiful, and we should worship that and not fall for, what society says we must have and all those things we need to do, because it's not true. It's just not true. And Apollo actually did open a lot of cans of worms in this book. One of them had to do with religion. Was it difficult for you to approach that whole religious aspect of the story?
It actually was difficult for me to actually name the name of the God that has it in for humanity, that's a dark force that has been keeping humanity in conflict, and men and women at each other's throats, and women suppressed. The beauty of the feminine is its wild, free liberation of the life force itself, and love and compassion, unity and inclusiveness. That's the nature of the feminine. So Apollo revealed to me not only the nature of the gods and the origin of how the gods we've worshipped over the centuries and millennia were created. He exposed this dark force, this malevolence that is on this planet, that is so rampant today and showing up in all of the current political situation we see, in the return to fundamentalism. Put woman in a box, control her, sit down, shut up, spread your legs, do as you're told. And he was all about exposing that and this dark force and naming it. And yes, I hesitated deeply before I named names, because I didn't want, who wants social media attack? Who wants to be attacked? But I was like, I can't pull any punches with this book. So yeah. Plus I'd had experience with fundamentalist Christianity, Deb, and I've seen how ugly it is and how divisive it is. And, right now in our planet, fundamentalist movements in all religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, are the foremost increasing religious sects in the world, fundamentalism. Because there's so much, as we're blossoming and unshackling ourselves, there's always that fear-based element of the minorities of, no, let's stay back in the box of where we were and make it safe. And so Apollo just exploded all of that and the whole ludicrousness of religion, and yet its control and power over us to this day.
Absolutely. And I think that part of the book for me was, a great eye-opener, and one of the reasons why I think people should read this book. I mean, there's so many different reasons, the love story, the wisdom that Apollo wanted to share, and everything about that is all there. And I mean, you just combined so many layers so beautifully, and it's just a great read. It just flows. It's a great read. It's a fun book to read, on so many different levels like that. You had talked a bit about, how the writing of this book changed you in terms of coming to grips with you as a person, and your sexuality, your aging, and just your overall feeling about yourself. I'm just curious that during the same period of time, you made a move from the Pacific Northwest to Hawaii. Was that inspired by the book?
I think, Debbie, it wasn't so much inspired by the book, but I think it was facilitated by the book of opening up a flowering in me, the blossoming of my own deeper feminine, and my ability to be more soft and approachable, and to let life in and to let life lead. And I had been living in the Pacific Northwest for, oh God, almost 30 years, and I was so done. And when I went on a book tour with my last book, The E Word, I was traveling around California, New Mexico, Arizona, looking for my next home, and I was sure it was going to be there, but no place called me. And I visited a friend on Maui, and the second day I was here, I was at the beach on the North Shore, on the golden sands, and I literally felt the spirit of the island pull me deep inside the island and just rock me and say, you come home to Mama Maui and let me take care of you. And I was just like, wow. So I did. And oh my God, Debbie, it's just been the best decision. I went back to Olympia, Washington. I sold everything I owned, shipped my car, packed 3 suitcases, and moved. And it's been one of the best decisions of my life. It's so supportive here in a very feminine, nurturing, blossoming way. And I'm just learning to be more at ease in my body, in my emotions, and just, and not so type A driven, like my will be done. It's like, well, yeah, I have intent. I want the book to do well. I want to do more public speaking. Yes, I have intention, but man, I'm no longer driven. And that's a huge statement. So yeah, I absolutely know if Apollo hadn't approached me and I hadn't written that book, I don't think I would have been equal. I don't think Maui would have called me.
Really?
But she did, and I'm so grateful.
Amazing. Do you miss Apollo? Do you wish Apollo was with you right now?
Well, Apollo is as close as my next breath, actually. I miss the dance of doing the story and engaging and what's going to happen next. It really is a trilogy, actually. I don't know when I'm going to get around to writing it. I've got so much else on my plate right now. I just love how he has grown me up as a woman and set me on my own feet as a full blossomed woman. And so I don't need Apollo, but I'm certainly happy if he showed up in my life. I would just be over the moon. Are you kidding? Oh, holy God. Anyway, the mind boggles.
Okay, so
yeah.
So where does it go from here? Is there more to the story? You said you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
So do you know where it's going yet, or you just have some thoughts?
I have intimations about where it's going. And I'm almost scared to write it, lest it be true. But there has to be blowback with Catherine writing about who, he who shall not be named. And we're not talking Voldemort. There's got to be blowback from the religious right about this, and so that is very much what the next book is going to be about, and how this healing of the feminine, the reveal of the feminine, and all that it contains, how that rocks the world, and people start to get it, and then of course there's this huge backlash, which is only mirroring what we're seeing, on the political stage today already.
Right.
The third book is way out there. It's transcendent. It's so in another dimension, Debbie, that it's just like I see little flickers of it. I feel the whisper of it calling me, but I don't know what that's going to be, but it's really cool.
Oh, well, I can't.
And it's all about creation. It's all about creating. It's about creating a new universe.
Yeah. I can't wait until you have the time to sit down and write all of this. But in the meantime, Cate, how can our listeners find out more about you and about the book?
Apollo and Me is, they can buy it on Amazon.com or order it through any bookstore. And they can find me at www.Cate with a C, well, I guess let's just with a C, CateMontana.com, or on Facebook, The Real Cate Montana.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cate, for being on the Dream Power Show today. We've been speaking with writer Cate Montana about Apollo on Me. This is Debbie Spector Weissman. I hope you've enjoyed the show and tune in next time. Until then, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.